Good day, everyone. This is Pilot Niels, and welcome to DDO Players News, where we take a look at lasers in DDO and on the tabletop. And please welcome my host from Ravenloft, Draculator.
Hey now, everybody. How's it going?
Hello there, Drac. How are things going over in Barovia?
You know, same mists, different day, as we always say, but here we are.
Yeah, I heard a rumor, though, that 64 Mistwalkers were planning on invading Cormyr.
Ooh, I see what you did there. Very good. Yes, we're going to get to that in a minute, but there's some other news to talk about first. I know that's the most exciting news.
Okay.
But some other exciting news.
Ooh, what could be more exciting than an invasion?
I guess if you're into raids. No, the raid isn't on live. Don't get crazy now.
Okay.
Lamannia is up. We are recording this on Wednesday, September the 25th. As of Wednesday, the 25th, Lamannia is open. Open today at 3 p.m. They are previewing the raid and previewing the raid loot. This is going to continue until Friday, September 27th at 5 p.m. Eastern. So as if you're listening live, you'll have the rest of Wednesday evening, you'll have Thursday, and then Friday until 5 p.m. to check out the raid. If you're listening on the record, if you listen to it when it comes out, you'll have Thursday and Friday. If you listen to it in the future, it's already on live. If you're in the way future. See, it's weird. It's timey-wimey. It depends what future you're listening in. If you're the far future, it's already on live. If you're just a couple hours into the future, it's not on live. See, it's timey-wimey. We need Doctor Who to figure this out for us.
I mean, the Doctor just improvises.
True. Anyway, yeah, raid. It's Threats Old the New is the name of the raid. They're previewing the raid. This is the second pass of the raid on Lamannia, and also raid loot. And also Lamannia is going to be up, and it's up to give you a chance to patch Lamannia for what we're about to talk about.
You mean all those Mistwalkers that are getting ready for an invasion?
All of the Mistwalkers, that's right. You probably heard the news by now. We're getting a new server to DDO. It's going to be called Cormyr. And what makes this special? Well, there's several things that make this special server. Number one, though, it's a 64-bit server.
Ooh. Now, in the future, are all 64-bit servers going to be named after realms areas instead of...
I would assume so. I would assume that's the naming scheme they're going for. I was really shocked when they said... Well, they kind of broke this news. Well, actually, this news kind of broke last week on the official DDO Discord. One of the devs, I guess, casually mentioned the 64-bit server, and people were like, wait, what? And then it was like, oops. And then it was like, yeah, I guess we should talk about this. So then they officially talked about it on Court Events Fridays at 4, which I will link. I should have linked it when I did this article over on DDO Players, but I will link the interview. That's where I pulled all this information from, and that's all that we know so far. We'll know more when the test server comes up, because we're going to get a chance to test this out. More on that soon. But yes, 64-bit server, the name of it is going to be Cormyr. DDO is taking a giant step forward into the 64-bit server architecture. This should give improved performance and gameplay stability, and potentially some new features that they could add in. Now, I just want to stress this right now. Don't think just because this is a 64-bit server, it's all shiny and new, you're going to get on and it's going to be lag-free. No. No. Lag is always going to be a thing, people. It's just you're going to have to just take a deep breath and say, yes, there's going to be lag. Hopefully it'll be better lag, but just because it's 64-bit, it's not gonna be lag.
There have been improvements over on in the Lotro side relating to the 64-bit servers, but they went through a lot of trouble talking about the 3 pillars of lag. I think they even talked about that on Friday.
They did, yep.
Discussion on that also. Yep. And the servers is only one of those 3 legs.
Yes, that's what a lot of people can't grasp their head around. It's like there's a lot that goes into lag. I mean, yes, the server plays a part of it, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. But yes, back to Cormyr. The sad part for me is, and I know this was a little tongue-in-cheek joke, but this is not going to be ran on a Commodore 64 or a Nintendo 64. Boo. I was hoping for the Commodore 64 port. That would be amazing.
Well, I'm not too sure Commodore 64 would be able to handle it, right?
I don't know. Well, maybe an Amiga 500 could, maybe. But yeah, no. So yeah, Seb had some jokes in the interview. Yeah, no, this is not. The 64 is referring to, it's a 64-bit architecture server. So this is going to be a gradual rollout. They're going to take a cautious approach on this. They're going to start with testing the server. And then after the test, which, once again, news of that broke today. We're going to talk about that in a moment. It's going to start out being VIP only. So you're going to have to be a VIP to play on it. It's going to be hosted in a new data center that Standing Stone is using. The 64-bit servers are going to be hosted in that new data center, which is located in Las Vegas. So that is going to potentially impact EU players the most, I would think. Your ping times might be a little bit higher than you used to, possibly.
As if they weren't already used to ultra-high ping time.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what the difference is going to be on this. So that'll be interesting. But for everybody in the United States, pretty much no matter where you are, I don't think you'll see that big of a difference in your ping times. You know, they might be a little bit higher, like for East Coast, because you're going East to West Coast, of course. But I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal for American players. EU players are going to be the one that's going to notice this the most, okay. I think.
So maybe the performance increase from the 64 bits will counteract any ping loss?
Hopefully,
yes.
We'll see. So this server, to start out with on the stress test, it's going to have free character copies, so you're going to be able to copy your characters over, and the stress test is going to be open to everybody. So even if you're straight free to play, if you're premium, you're VIP, doesn't matter. Anybody can play on the stress test, and they want a lot of people. They want as many people as they can get. They basically want to crash the server, is the point. They want to get a bunch of people in there and just set the server on fire, basically, to see.
Now, they're going to have a little bit more difficulty in doing that than they did on the Lotro side, because in the Lotro side, their way of stressing it was to go to a location, spawn in the new nasty mob that's coming up, that was coming up for the special server rules that they were having up there. So they brought that up into one location and told everybody where that location is, and then several hundred players all came in order to fight it.
I'm assuming they'll do something like that here too, probably.
But how do you do that in DDO?
You can, like, have you never been on when Cordovan goes on to the live, like during the anniversary event? Cord will go on to like the live servers.
And drop stuff.
And he'll drop stuff, and then he also can spawn monsters in.
Oh, I didn't know you could spawn monsters into the marketplace.
Oh yeah, he's done that plenty of times. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess I thought of doing that.
No, So I'm assuming they'll do something like that here. Once they get, X amount of people on, they'll say, hey, we're gonna come to X area and we're gonna spawn. Now, like if you would be out in an instance, no, they couldn't do it then, but they could do it in like a public instance, like Marketplace or any of the places like that. Any public instance they could do it in.
Yeah, the Marketplace sounds like an easy one to get to.
Yeah. So then they're going to have that stress test. I'm assuming they'll have a couple of those stress tests probably. And then they did say, which we will talk about again in a second, but the stress test, to find the server, you're going to have to use the Lamannia game client. So if you don't have that, you might want to download it, get it ready. Best time to do it is actually right now, since Lamannia is actually up. You can get it patched, get it ready. You may or may not see Cormyr show up in your choices.
Probably will.
It's going to be down red. You're not going to be able to get to it,
Yeah.
but you might see it. But at least that way you'll get your Lamannia pre-patched. You probably might have a small patch once Cormyr actually does come up. So then after that test, when they actually go live with this server, once again, it's going to be VIP only, and you're not going to be able to copy or transfer characters over. It's going to be a fresh start from scratch server, which I know a lot of people I've seen complaining about, but that's the whole point. This is a fresh start server.
I suppose the people aren't as used to these things here as they are on the Lotro end, where whenever they have special servers come up, it's no matter how long term it is, it's only a fresh start server.
Right. The only special server we've ever had is hardcore.
Right, and those were always temporary.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I think people thought, oh, this new server, it's going to be like any other server. I can just transfer it over. No.
Yeah, one of the reasons they're doing a fresh start server is because they want an opportunity to see how the 64-bit operates without having everybody jumping on there, transferring at once in there. Because if someone doesn't want to lose their status, they're going to be remaining on the old servers, and they don't want to overload these servers and just burn them to the ground just at the first day of opening.
Exactly. There's some other stuff related to that we'll talk about in a moment too. But so once this comes up, this server, unlike the hardcore servers, will remain active for an extended period. So it's not like, like hardcore, it's up for 2 months. This one, they don't really have any plans to take it down. Now, they said they could announce that it's going to come down, but they don't have plans to do that. This should be a semi-permanent server that's going to be up. There's going to be an event that is going to be running on this server only, so it's going to be a Cormyr event only, and it's called Lanterns in the Mist, and this is revolving around, of course, the Mist of Ravenloft. Yay, more Ravenloft stuff. Yeah. How this is going to work. This was a little fuzzy. They went over it, but they didn't give a lot of details on it. So this is the best I could surmise from what they Sev and Cord talked about on.
Yeah. When I read this, I'd say, okay, now which of us heard this like it was a game of telephone?
Yeah, exactly. So, like I said, take this with that in mind. This is just how I took it off of the Fridays at 4 video. If you understood something different, podcast at DDOplayers.com. I respond over on the YouTube version of this, or over on DDO Players itself. Leave us a comment, and we'll talk about it. But what you're going to do is you're going to claim a lantern. At level 1, you're going to be able to claim up to 5 of these lanterns. The lanterns are going to go into a trinket slot. And it sounds like they've already have like the graphics for it, and they're like a cool Ravenloft Gothic type looking lantern thing. I can't wait to personally see it because it sounds awesome to me. But it's Ravenloft, so why wouldn't it be? When you have these trinkets slotted, it is going to allow players to see what is called a Mistwalker. If you only have one of the lanterns slotted, you're going to be able to see the Mistwalkers, but you're not going to be able to really interact with the Mistwalker, or your lantern's not going to be able to be destroyed. But if you equip a second lantern, then that lantern will now be destructible on death, potentially destroying any other lanterns you have as well. And you can have up to, I think it was 5 lanterns. So if you only have one equipped, you can't lose that lantern. If you equip the second, then all of your lanterns are now destructible. So that kind of brings in the quote-unquote hardcore aspect of it. And then the Mistwalkers are, from what I assume and what I gathered, they're going to be similar to the Hounds that showed up on previous hardcore events. That wasn't really clear, but it seems to be the case.
Yeah, when I heard Mistwalkers, I was thinking what some Vistani were going to be invading or something. Because who else could be walking in the mists?
Yeah, I'm not saying it's gonna be a hound itself, but it's just going to be like that hound mob.
Yeah.
It's going to be very difficult to kill. It's going to be a very hard to kill creature.
I'm wondering if they're going to be in some way similar to the raids that are happening on the event on the Lotro side.
Maybe. I mean, they might take some of that tech that they, like I said, they didn't really talk about these Mistwalkers much other than you need a lantern to see it, and they're only going to appear to players within a specific level range, and you have to have a lantern. So, if you're just on the server playing, you're going to be oblivious to any of this weird stuff that's happening with these Mistwalkers unless you have a lantern. Once you equip a lantern, then you start that whole thing. And then, but they did state, though, that if you're in a group and somebody in that group has a lantern equipped, you will then see the Mistwalker and you will have to fight the Mistwalker. So that's something to keep in mind if you're going to group on Cormyr, especially I would say if you're just going to do like a pug on Cormyr. Keep in mind, if you're not doing this whole Mistwalker event, somebody in your group might be. So you're gonna have to, like, if you don't want to deal with this at all, you want to make sure before you group, it's like, hey, are you doing Mistwalkers? Because I want to know before I group with you. So, but then it's going to be progression based. And then once you reach certain levels and you complete certain goals, you're going to go up through the event. They didn't really talk about any of what the goals or anything are, but
I suspect how fast you progress is going to depend on how many lanterns you're carrying.
I would assume so, yes. And then once again, this is an optional thing. You can participate in the event if you want. If you don't want to, you don't have to. So don't think that you have to. You can jump on the server and just enjoy a fresh start on this 64-bit server and just have fun like you always do and not have to worry about this weird quote-unquote hardcore aspect of the server.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be people in there who'll just go in there just to see how fast they could be the first person to
people are going to do that. You know people are going to do that, yes. Or how many to see who can, whatever your whole
completionist.
And whatever your whole completion goal for the lantern system is. Yeah, people are going to see. Oh, of course they are. I guarantee you within the first probably 50 hours, somebody's going to have this whole event beaten and probably have TR'd at least 5 times. Mark my words. My words.
Before I get to level 10.
Right, exactly. There you have it. So there you go. That is pretty much what we sort of know. Like I said, all that was taken from what I gathered from the talk. I did send an email over to Cordovan to ask him, hey, when you or anybody else from the team is ready to talk about this, come on the podcast and let's talk. So we'll see. Now, I assumed you watched the Fridays at 4 video.
Yes, I did.
Did you take anything way different than what I did?
Well, I think I wasn't listening very carefully at the time. He was talking about exactly how you got the lanterns and stuff like this. So I think I might have missed one or two things he said in there. So I think that's why I think I might have thought of completely different things with the lanterns. I thought that there was one lantern and that there were different types of lanterns, for example, or something like that.
Oh, yeah, no. It's like you just equip more than one, yeah.
All right.
So we'll see. They did say that the goal is to eventually create new other servers based off this 64-bit architecture, and then those will, as long as they can work some stuff out, you should be able to transfer to. But once again, just keep in mind this Cormyr right now, no transfers at all. It's a fresh start, brand new, level 0 or 1 or 4 or 7, whatever you want to do, character. And then, and it's basically, this is a test to see how well the 64-bit infrastructure will work with DDO. And we're going to talk here in a second about your experiences with 64-bit because Lotro has been doing this for a while. So
Right.
we will get your thoughts on that. But some of the key challenges to this, the big thing is if they would ever get a server up to where they would say, okay, we're going to allow transfers coming in under this. There is some big hurdles they have to get by. Right now, there are some issues with transferring a guild. You cannot do it. If you are on a server and you want to transfer to another server and you're a guild leader, you have to either turn your guild over to somebody else or disband the guild. You can't just say, hey, my whole guild is going to transfer to X server and then everything transfers over. Nope, doesn't work like that. They're working on getting guild transfers to work, but right now you can't do that. Also, your monster manuals do not transfer over, so you start even now if you transfer from one server to another and you have a complete monster manual full, you've killed every monster X amount of times that you need to fill your monster manual up, none of that's going to transfer over. They're working on that as well. And then character serialization needs to be addressed. That is before any widespread transfers can occur. And
Right.
Seb kind of talked about what that serialization
Oh, I know exactly
was.
what that's all about.
Oh, okay. Well, go ahead and tell us then.
That character serialization is what they're talking about is the footprint of your character, meaning, and that the higher your level of your character, the larger of a footprint you've got because you have all this stuff to it. And if you're a level 30 character, you have many more things to your character at a time than you would if you were a level 1 character who's just being started and all that stuff. And in fact, that's one of the reasons why they chose that this will be a fresh start server, is because serialization is the second, because I told you about that there were 3 pillars of lag. One of them being the limitations of the 32-bit architecture, but the second one is serialization because of how much you've got coming in from these characters who have this huge footprint coming along, and they need to get that to be more efficient because there's this question about how much you can handle. If you brought in several hundred level 30 characters onto a 64-bit server, what's going to happen? Well, they're going to find that on Monday, of course.
Right.
But right now, we are going to just have the whole thing immediately pounded by all. So that's the footprint of your character. What happens is that whenever your character goes from one subserver to another subserver, whenever you do that, they have to transfer all that data from the old server into the new subserver. And you're constantly doing this, I guess within a dungeon. I don't know how often. I don't know if an entire dungeon can fit into one subserver or not, because in Lotro, you're normally jumping in from one location to another all over in the landscape because it's a very, very landscape-oriented system. And thus, those servers are constantly transferring data from one to another, to another, to another, to another, to another, to another, to another. So that footprint is very, 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 very huge impact onto the system. But anyway, data serialization is just their thing about saying all that data you've got associated with your character that has to be transferred whenever you go from one subserver to another subserver. And that's one of the biggest causes of lag, is all that transfer that has to be done.
Yeah, because, I guess you don't think about it as you're playing, but there's a lot of data in your character. Like,
Yes.
everything you have on you is data. That is part of the database. That is a chunk that it has to do something with.
Yeah. Now, this is why we have so few bags, is because of they want to reduce this. They encourage, for you to have these, what they call it on the DDO side, the carry-all type, what they call in Notro, the carry-alls.
Yeah, like the large and the
Yeah, all these things.
gargantuan like
Yeah,
jewelry bags,
right. All those bags. Their advantage
crafting bags,
is
right?
that they could just have all that data to the side for whatever's in that bag, so they only have to carry that one bag to it instead of carrying everything in it. That's why you don't have 50 bags in your character at a time, and you have all these special bags instead. Is to reduce the amount of stuff that you have to serialize every time you go from place to place.
So we will see. So it'll be interesting. And as we kind of alluded to earlier, they did announce today the first preview of the server is going to be happening on Monday, September the 30th at 11 a.m. Eastern, running until Tuesday, October the 1st till 11 a.m. Eastern. So 24 hours. You're going to have a good solid 24-hour window that you're going to be able to jump in here
Yeah.
and do this. And then Tolero did post, when she posted about this, she did say during the special preview, we'll be asking as many players as possible to log on to the 64-bit server to engage in heavy performance. And they want you to do activities such as do raids, do quest, just do hit it hard, hit it fast. They want to gather as much of the diagnostic data as they can about the new hardware. And once again, you're going to be able to do a character copy. So if you have a maxed out Uber character that can run raids solo with your eyes closed, with your hands tied behind your back, you're using a kid's piano toy as your controller, bring that character over. Do it.
Yeah.
Do that. Do whatever.
Right.
Bring as much as you want. If you want to bring your highest level tune, cool. Do it. They just want people to run raids. They want people to run quests. They want people to do anything you can think of. They want to get the data. Once again, September 30th, 11 a.m. Eastern to Tuesday, October 1st, 11 a.m. Eastern. So that's next Monday and Tuesday as we record this on Wednesday.
I suspect that there will also be a 1 to 2 hour event during the course of that.
I would assume so.
Where they are going to try to probably do, as Drac was suggesting, bringing people into the marketplace and spawning stuff there, and trying to get as many people into one space as possible also in order to really hit it as hard as possible, because that's something that they tried doing in the other game in order to get things tested as heavily as possible. First test the load on the server in general, and then test it everybody in the same place and doing the worst they can. And I think they once had several hundred people in there before they crashed it, because they turned off all the caps, loading caps and the stuff and the like, just to break it and find out how it broke, what happened when it break, and the like.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Once again, Monday to Tuesday, so good luck. And you can copy your characters over just for the stress test. And they did make sure they pointed out, a couple of people asked in the forum post, and Cordovan did respond, yes, you can copy multiple characters over if you would like. So if you have, a couple higher end characters, that maybe one of your characters is your raid character. So copy that one over and then copy another character over just to quest or to test out or test some stuff with. This is what it's for. So there you go. So now we know the 64-bit server's coming.
Right.
The other game that Standing Stone does, Lotro, they've had 64-bit servers for how long now?
I'd say about a month, I think.
Okay, so kind of tell us about that, since you're, I don't know, most people listening to the show probably, I think, gathered just from other episodes and hear you talk. You're a pretty much hardcore Lotro player. I mean, you played Lotro longer than DDO, right? I think. Am I right in saying that?
Playing consistently longer, I would think.
Okay.
I may have dabbed my toes into DDO before Lotro existed.
Okay, but anyway, you're like,
Yeah.
you're you are the Lotro man of the show. We'll put it that way. Because
yes, I'm very.
I don't even play Lotro at all anymore. I don't even have it installed anymore. I need to install it and jump back in and see how confused I would be about everything, which I'm sure would be everything. So tell me about the 64-bit servers on Lotro and how they tested them and how that went and your experiences playing.
Well, I talked about the testing already, as I said, because they have a special event, a special landscape event, where you have these raids spawning. And the normal raids, not too much of a problem there. But one of the things that they have on there are times when, if you're near level cap, you have a chance of spawning one of the 9. And if you understand Lord of the Rings, when you say one of the 9,
I assumed that's what that was in reference to. I was going to ask about that. Okay, that makes total sense then.
Right. So you bring in one of the 9. Yeah, that's why it's called Veil of the 9, is because, you have this opportunity to bring in, because at lower levels you could bring in lesser raids, but now at the higher level, you could spawn in one of the 9. And when they come in, they need large numbers to kill. I would say at least 50 in order to be able to really do a number on them. So we're talking a real nasty opponent coming in.
Okay, so they're kind of similar to if you play like Guild Wars 2, there's some landscape bosses that spawn in that require multiple people, or there's a couple other games that do that. I can't think off the top of my head now with some other. Okay, all right. That makes sense. So that's kind of different. DDO's not doing that. They're just doing the Mistwalk. I doubt the Mistwalkers are going to be to that extent.
Probably no. They won't be on landscape in any case.
Right. Well, yeah. Well, that's true. That's right. Because you can't do it on landscape. That's true.
I think the Mistwalkers might be similar to the lesser raids that can appear.
Okay.
But the ring raids, that big event, that's a landscape event. It is going. And as soon as there's word that there is a ring raid in the area, people rush, port, or whatever to get to that location. And I said it takes about 50 people in order to do it. Very, very quickly, you're going to have a lot more than 50 people in that area. So that's the real trick in it. So it really will stress out the system in bringing them in. Now, it's interesting, people notice, is that because the population on the Mordor server, which is the one that's in Europe, is higher than the population on the one on the Angmar server, which is in the United States, the Mordor server gets a much bigger hit at this time than the Angmar server does, because if there's a ring raid event going on somewhere around in the world, if you're not near that event, you don't notice it. It doesn't affect your performance or anything like that. And I know that's very, very common, things like that in Lotro. Because I remember one year during a public event, during a music event that they had on top of Weathertop, something happened that several players, you got 100, 200 players in that area, and someone did something that was very intentional and crashed Weathertop. I'm playing along like there's nothing going on. Because I was nowhere near Weathertop at the time.
Right.
I was watching the stream instead.
Right.
So that shows you the idea. So you have things that are possible like that. But apparently on Mordor, because there are a lot more people there, they're getting more people coming in all at once in there. And they're even able to slow down the entire server whenever that happens. So it's a much bigger hit over there than it is on the U.S. side.
Okay.
But it looks like because there are more Europeans that decided to play on the new server for one very important reason. And that's because the Mordor server is located in Germany. So you say 64-bit and local, meaning on the same continent? Yeah.
Right, yeah. So that's interesting that they actually have a 64-bit server in Germany.
Yeah, it's in Germany, and apparently I got the impression that they got the assets for one from Daybreak Games, and that there was only space enough for one server, and that's what they decided to do, is put this one server there so that
Gotcha.
to work with it. I don't know the details of this, and maybe we could ask Cordovan someday.
We will.
what
I
the
will
truth
try to
is.
get more information on
Yeah.
that. I
Right,
will.
so-
I will work on that.
Right. But in any case, it seems to be running very smoothly. But of course, right now we have a level cap of 50, which I guess in DDO terms, okay, maybe we could say it's the equivalent of level 20 because it's the first major divide that you have. And I don't know if it's closer
Okay.
to level 10 or level 20 or what's equivalent to, but they have a lower level cap. That's whenever they start new servers. What they normally do in Lotro is they start with at level cap 50, and then after a while they slowly increase the level cap as time goes along on these servers.
Okay.
And in fact, some people go to those just for that feature so that they could run old content as it would be being level capped. DDO, I think that'll be less popular, which is why I don't think that they're going to do that on the DDO side.
Well, no, and it's DDO is kind of a different beast too with the
Right.
whole TR train and everything. So yeah,
Right.
it's kind of I mean, I guess they could do that. They could, like, in theory, create like another server and make it to be just like a progression server and have it. But that would be really tough to do, though. So yeah,
Yeah, it sounds like a tougher.
yeah, that would be
sell on
really
DDO.
tough. Yeah, that'd
mean-
be really tough to do in DDO, actually.
Especially, I would think that what they do is they set those progression limits based on when things were released. And I think in DDO, what was the original level cap in DDO?
Oh God. I'm gonna have to look it up to make sure.
I think it was relatively.
It was really super low.
Yeah, it was super low and stuff like that. And
Oh God, I can't even remember.
I would think that the lowest level cap you could start with on a DDO progression server would be 20, so that you at least have the ability to TR. Because I think it's going to be a very unpopular server if you couldn't do that. But in any case, we don't think anything like that is happening on this new. I think that they're going to just start at normal level cap on this. Going to be my hypothesis for the moment.
The answer was at launch in February 2006. Level
Yeah.
cap was 10.
10, okay.
And then when Module 3, the Demon Sands, came out in October of 2006, they increased it to 12.
All right, so they slowly went up until
Yes.
then they got to 20, and at 20 they had to figure out, okay, what are we going to do for Epic?
So yeah, so the progression for those keeping track at home was 10, 12, 14, 16, 20, 25, 28, 30, 32, and then 34, as it is now. With the new expansion, they increased it to 34.
By the way, in pen and paper, do they ever get past 30, or is that something completely from DDO?
No, well, it depends on your DM. There's ways that you can, but usually no. It depends on your DM, because if you get that high, especially in 5e, you're a god. You can't really be killed. So it's really hard on your DM to do anything. I mean, hell, in 5e, it's hard to kill somebody at first level, but that's another matter.
As opposed to 1E, where you
Right.
just have to breathe. You're
Saber
totally
die.
keeping 'em alive.
Exactly. Saber die, buddy. Saber die.
Save or die, yeah.
So, okay. So, there you go. So, it sounds like 64-bit over on the Lotro side is pretty popular.
Right.
It's going to be, it's a little different than what it's going to be over here because, like I said, you have the whole landscape event thing or whatever.
Yeah.
We're just going to have the
landscape event,
Mistwalkers, but
we're gonna have we'll have the Mistwalkers on this end. I will probably try creating a character there and see how I can do on that. Actually, I think it'll give me a chance to try everything from scratch, because sometimes you're wondering, okay, how will I do this if I didn't have anything being helped for by other characters or anything like that? Which is what I'm doing on the Lotro side effectively.
yeah, I was hoping I could maybe talk you into doing this, and we would actually start at level 1.
I was assuming that we were going to be.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as this is up, that we will
Oh,
have
yeah.
our. Well, I was going to say regular, but semi-regular.
Semi-regular, but hopefully that's going to improve too. But we'll see. No promises, but hopefully. So anyway, so there you go. That's what we know. Like I said, if you kind of took any of that news different than what we did or I did, let us know. Podcast at DDOplayers.com. Respond over on the YouTube video and are on the post for the episode over on DDO Players, and let us know what you think, or just let us know what you think in general too. If you're excited about this, which I think overall a lot of people are excited about this, so we'll see how this goes.
We'll see how it goes. So now, I think it's time for us to head over and see what's coming in from the dungeon. Where it appears that we are looking for a lost horn. Does that mean the Horn of Valir or something like that?
That would be better than the stupid Horn of Uni. Hate this stupid unicorn. Don't get it. Yes, we are referring to Uni the Unicorn from the D&D cartoon. There is a new free adventure that is available if you have a D&D Beyond account, that is. If you're a fan of the classic animated series, you are going to be thrilled to know that you can now adventure with your favorite characters once again. It is called Uni and the Hunt for the Lost Horn. This is a one-shot adventure, as I said. It's available for free. You just got to log into your D&D Beyond account, and then it'll get added to your account. You just click a button, and it adds it. Super simple. The adventure is a one-shot, and it is based on the whatever the heck you want to call it, 5.5 2004, not 5.5, not a new edition, but the same edition but different edition of D&D.
Yeah, this is really confusing.
It's stupid confusing. Hasbro, WotC, figure it out. Like
they didn't want to call it a new edition, but they wanted to make changes.
Right. So this is going to feature some of the monsters that are going to be in the upcoming 2025 Monster Manual. You're going to have to encounter Blink Dogs, Bugbear Warriors, Bullywug Warriors, Bullywug Bog Spears, and then there's a new NPC Mage and some new Wargs that you're going to face off against. Keep in mind the stats in these might not be the final what they're going to be in the monster manual, so they might tweak them, but this is your first kind of look at some of the monsters. Then there is pre-made characters. They're level 4, and these pre-made characters just so happen to be everybody from the cartoon. It's Bobby.
Oh, what a coincidence.
Yeah, exactly. Bobby, Diana, Eric, Hank, Presto, Sheila, and then there's somebody called Nico. Who the heck is Nico? Nobody knows. Nico is new. They picked up a friend, apparently. The biggest thing that I think you can take from this, and Hasbro WotC did say this actually is canon. So this is canonical. If you figured it out, it's like, hey, when they were in the cartoon, they were probably level 0 or level 1, right? And now they're level 4. That means they grew up. They got off the planet or out of the, however you want to say it, out of the realm, however you want to say it. They escaped, and apparently now they're going back to help Uni. It is fully canonical, though. So the characters did return to their homeworld, and they grew up into full adults, so they leveled up, and now they're back into the realm of Dungeons & Dragons because Uni is being kidnapped by Kellic. He wants his horn. He finds out he can do a spell by his horn. Blah, 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 blah. But anyway, so there you go. Free adventure. If you're into the D&D cartoon, it's kind of worth it just to get the stats for all the cartoon characters. And to see this weird...
But they're level 4 stats instead of level 0 stats, right?
Yes, but if you want the actual level 1, if you have the original DVD box set that came out that is now way out of print and stupid expensive, there is a D&D 3.5 characters for all of the cartoon characters in that book.
Okay.
That came with the DVD set, but good luck finding it because, like I said, it's way out of print and stupid expensive. I am so happy I bought mine when that thing first came out because now it's like $300, $400 to buy. No, thank you, sir. No, thank you. So there you go. Jump over to D & Beyond and get your free copy of Uni and the Hunt for the Lost Horn.
All right.
I'm sort of kind of thinking about maybe running this for my friends, possibly. I was going to talk to them, see if they want to do this. Maybe. I don't know. It's kind of cool, I guess, but I freaking hate Uni, so maybe I'll change it and have him die or something. That'll be cool.
All right. Well, all right. If you're not interested in a Lost Horn, how about a Forgotten Vinyl?
Yeah, this is so exciting. But I have a problem with this, but we'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, Hasbro Wizard did announce to help celebrate the game's 50th anniversary, they're going to bring out a brand new vinyl. Yes, I said vinyl. It is Dungeons & Dragons Bardic Inspiration, a musical journey through the Forgotten Realms. That's a title that just rolls right out the tongue, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They could have shortened that title a bit. But this is composed by the composer Michael Gatt. This is a sonic exploration of the Forgotten Realms. It is going to be released, of course, on vinyl. So if you are a vinyl collector, we don't know anybody that's that, do we? Who? Not me. Who collects vinyl? I don't know. It's going to be available in fall of 2024. It's going to be on a double vinyl. Didn't really release much more information on that other than fall of 2024. They said more information is coming soon, as well as it's going to be available in streaming as well in Dolby Atmos and digital formats. Once again, more information on the album, when you can pre-order it, more information coming soon. But this is kind of cool. So if you're a vinyl collector, probably want to get this because I bet they're not going to press many of these, I wouldn't think. I mean, I don't see them doing a huge pressing run of these.
Yeah. Probably the minimum run you could have.
Yeah.
Super expensive.
Yeah, that would be my guess. So we'll see. We'll see. This is kind of exciting. I hope they send this to me to review. That would be great because I kind of am trying not to give Hasbro any of my money. So, and this is making it. This is making it really, really hard. So yeah.
Hasbro got you with all this 5.5 stuff.
Oh yeah. I mean, see any rant I've ever done on the show, and you should know how I feel about the overlords at Hasbro right now. But anyway, so there you go. Vinyl coming from Hasbro and WotC.
All right, then let's see what's happening on the tabletop. It looks like that the dock workers are threatening to strike and disrupt U.S. supply chains, and the strike is against the Eastern Seaboard?
Yes, it is. And some people are saying, why the heck are you talking about this on a gaming podcast? Why do we care about this? Well, you should care about this for a number of reasons. But to tie it into our little corner of the world, which is gaming, if you back a Kickstarter and that Kickstarter is delivered through the Eastern Coast and the ports, this is going to affect you because there might not be anybody to unload that ship when it comes in. It's going to affect way more than just gaming. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, this is going to affect pretty much everything. But yes, it's going to involve up to 45,000 workers at the ports. They say they handle about 60% of all U.S. shipping traffic does come through the eastern ports, which that kind of shocked me. I didn't realize they got that much of the shipments that came into the U.S., but the Eastern Gulf Coast are pretty bigger ports than I thought they were. So they have until October 1st to reach a deal. And as of September 25th, as we record this, I checked before we started recording, they have still not strike a deal, and the two sides are way far apart. So let's hope this gets fixed, because like I said, this is going to affect your Kickstarters. So you could have a Kickstarter that might be, say you have a Kickstarter that you just got a notification. It's like, hey, our ship is on the water. It's going to dock October something. Yeah, that ship's just going to sit there. Or it might not even dock at all.
Yeah, it could be because, well, if it's coming from China, they might be, well, there are going to be long queues over on the West Coast if some of them are diverted to West Coast.
Yeah.
You know, we just don't bother going through the canal and go to the West Coast. Is something they could try to do, but I suspect that a lot of them were not planning for that originally, and the West Coast ports are going to be overloaded, so we expect disruption even in that case. And on top of that, the East Coast, I don't think they've quite recovered from the bridge disaster yet.
No, and that's another thing that makes this even worse, to be honest, is they're still backed up from that, because I particularly can say that for sure, because I have a Kickstarter that is right now messed up in all of that.
Yeah, I have one too, because I have one that, well, I think they're finally getting to a point where they might be able to ship it to the backer soon, but it's already 2 months
That's
overdue.
The same for one of mine. Yep.
Yeah, simply because it was ready to get in and come in. It was a week, like a couple of days from port when the whole thing happened. So this is just going to be, from the point of view of shipping, another disaster.
So let's hope they get a deal before the strike happens, because but like I said, this is far wide reaching, other than just our little corner of the world with games and Kickstarter. This is going to affect just anything that comes through that port, be it, automobiles, be it food, be it clothes, be it electronics. It doesn't matter. Whatever comes through that port, this is going to screw that up. So
and when you say port, we mean any U.S. Eastern port.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's not like it's just, it's, port X in whatever state. It's anything. It's the Eastern and the Gulf Coast ports.
Right, because they all have one union up in the East Coast.
Yep. So let's knock on some wood and that we can get this taken care of before they actually go on strike. But
let's remember, because one of the big things on there had to do with automation and stuff like that. And we know how many, was it weeks or was it months, that the screenwriters were on strike?
Oh yeah, that was like months.
Yeah, and so we had this big long strike in Hollywood because of automation, essentially. And I know that sounds strange for screenwriting, but that's
right. Well, AI.
So
there's AI again.
Yeah, here we are. Yeah, I don't know if AI is involved in this or if it's some other. So I don't know the exact details of the automation in question.
Yeah, they didn't really say, and I tried to look it up, and I got some like conflicting things. I don't think it's AI per se. I think it's just they want to automate a lot of this with using like robots and technology like that, and basically taking some jobs away from the dock workers.
And most likely, as I said, the union claims that it is violating the contract they had, and most likely it's at the very least skimming on the side of it in a way that either side could interpret it that they're right on it.
Right. So, we'll see. Knock on wood, this gets solved before they even go on strike, or if they do go on strike, it gets cleared up quickly so it doesn't cause too much of a mess, but we'll see.
I'm not optimistic.
I'm not either, actually, to be honest. Yeah, I'm not either. So just be prepared.
Just be prepared, and then be prepared that if you are lucky, it'll be delayed only a few weeks as you dock in San Francisco and see that thing have to get over by train or truck or whatever in order to get back to the other side of the U.S. if you're having it on there.
Indeed.
But After that, let's go and look at something else, and that is that the War of the Rohirrim, a new Middle-earth strategy board box set. So if you ever wanted to play a game involving Helm Hammerhand and Wolf and all, you can do that now in Middle-earth strategy battle game. War of the Rohirrim, obviously based on the upcoming movie, I guess.
Indeed, yes, it is. Well, it's the animated or the
The
anime
animated
series. Yeah,
the animated series. You're right.
it is. Yeah, this ties in with that directly. Actually, yeah, this is coming from Games Workshop. There is already a Lord of the Rings strategy battle game. This is just a new box set for that game. If you're unfamiliar with what that game is, it's a skirmish miniatures game. So think like Warhammer, think Kill Team, think Warcrow, think any games like that. Yeah.
Think anything that that this company puts out.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to cost you a lot of money to buy the stuff because it's Games Workshop. Think that as well too. But yeah, this new box set is called, as you said, The War of the Rohirrim, Battle of Edoras. This is featuring, like you said, Rohan, and it's got some Dunlendings. Thank you. That is a weird word. Tolkien came up with some weird words.
Yes, but this is not set during the time of the War of the Ring.
No, it is not.
This is at the time, because if you know about the Lord of the Rings, you know about Helm's Deep. Well, Helm's Deep got its name because of the incident that this portrays.
Yes. So you're going to get a whole bunch of minis in this because this is a Games Workshop game. You're going to get 24 warriors of the Rohan. You're going to get Prince Rohan himself. It's going to be mounted and a miniature that's on foot. So you're going to get 2 of him. You're going to get the Prince of Rohan as well. Once again, mounted and on foot. And then, as I said, 24 warriors. Then you're going to get Wolf, who was the leader of the Dunderlings, mounted and on foot as well. And then General Tarog, which I don't even know who that is. I'm not that familiar with Tolkien to even know who that general is. Once again, mounted and on foot, and 24 hill tribesmen. Can you tell me who that is? Do you even know who that is?
Targ, I don't recall Targ.
Right.
Either I forgot the name or they made it up for
Either that or it might be from the anime too, possibly.
Yeah, it could
That's coming out. But yeah, anyway. Then also, of course, Games Workshop, so lots of other stuff. 48-page booklet with unit profiles and scenarios, 2 plastic model Rohan houses, dice, 176-page rule manual, a themed range ruler, because, you gotta measure your stuff. This is a minis game, for God's sakes. And then a double-sided playmat and a quick reference guide.
When you said dice and then 176 before you said page, I was thinking 176.
Oh, yeah. You get 176 dice. Get ready to roll a heck of a lot of dice. Yeah, I did say that weird. For sure. But there you go.
Boy,
there you go. So if you're into Middle-earth strategy battle game, more for it coming soon. If you're into this particular section of Tolkien, there you go.
Yeah, I could never get into Games Workshop.
I don't have money to be able to even start to get into Games Workshop.
The only one
games.
I ever got into was Talisman, and I don't think that's Games Workshop game anymore. Right?
Not anymore. It originally was, but yeah. No, I mean, I would love to get into this. I've been in, well, it's technically not my friendly local game store, but it's my friend's friendly local game store. We go in there every time I go visit him. And in his store, they actually have a pretty active player base for the Middle-earth battle game, and it is I just stand there and watch them play it, and it is so amazing to watch, and the level of detail they have in their terrain and their minis is just, I mean, I would love to add this to all the other miniatures games I'm going to play, but yeah, I don't have time or money to even attempt to go down the Games Workshop route. So if you have either one of them, there you go.
Right, then let's go and head into our week in gaming. And Drac, what were you up to?
Well, did cruising with Drac again with Evil Beaker, and we did Salt Marsh. We did the first 4 quests, 3 quests, 3 or 4. I can't remember how many got done. I think 3. We'll say 3. He'll let me know if I'm wrong, and he'll tell me how dumb I am. But I think it's 3 or 4 of Salt Marsh. So we're gonna finish that hopefully this week, and then played more 7 Days to Die, and that was really about it. Other than I'm trying to think if I played the game that I can't talk about yet. I don't think I played it anymore, which I found out I can soon talk about that game. So stay tuned for the podcast, and I will soon tell you about the game I've been talking about that I can't talk about. I can now talk about. That's so confusing, but there you go. I would love to talk about that I can't talk about as I am talking about it now. So let's just move on to you before I get myself in trouble and break some NDA or something.
All right. We'll begin with DDO, where my wild mage finished up a Myth Dranor, which reminds me that someday we'll have to get around to playing that.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. We'll
hopefully. Knock on fake wood that's in front of me. Hopefully tomorrow.
All right. And then in video games, I was playing Balatro, which I can't remember if I talked about Balatro on the show yet. Because
you did a couple times, yes.
Right, okay. And so I finally managed to win a game at Gold Stake. Gold Stake is the highest setting on the difficulty. Only one game in it, but...
So what's your Reaper mode for Balatro?
Well, I would hate to think what Reaper mode would be like in this game.
Okay, so not quite that.
Yeah, I mean, there's some... I could just imagine doing Gold Stake Jokerless. That could be Reaper mode.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I know some people who can manage to do it. I'm sorry, I have no trouble winning it with jokers, so never mind. And then also, I've tried a new game called Temjo, which is a similar in some ways to Balatro, except that it's based on Mahjong rather than on poker.
Interesting.
Yeah, and that's my week in gaming. So we did not receive any reviews this week, but we would love your support. And this helps out. This helps out a lot, so drop a review for your favorite podcast app of choice. And if you leave a review, let us know. And also, you could try leaving us a comment or an email. And if you'd like to send us an email, you can send it to podcast@ddoplayers.com. Each week, at the Players Alliance, we have 2 live shows. On Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. USC time, we have Loach Players News, and we record DDO Players News when Drac is available. You can join for our shows at ddoplayers.com/live. And that is all for tonight. And this is Pineleaf Needles reminding you to quest responsibly.